welcome back to a short and quick little Twisted Bills video. Just showing off some fun things you can do with the engine sim. So, I just actually got this old Dell going again, and wanted to show you guys and gals what you can do with some engine sim work. So, you don't need a desktop tower. This is just making my life easier for benchtop testing, but regardless. Currently I have an HP tuners cord connected to my tower with VCM scanner brought up. I've got my engine sim set up for 24x output to a factory PO1 that I flashed with an engine tune for Nova that I'm actually working on currently. We are switching from the PO1 to a Holley Dominator, and I needed to get some tune information on this because we've already tuned the tune file that's on this on a dyno. So, and we're going to have to go back to the dyno because obviously the Dominator is different. However, I wanted to extract as much data as I could off of the factory tune to use in the Dominator tune as a startup because it should be really close because it worked good on the PO1. Now, obviously, GM uses different calculations for the fueling and stuff than Holley does. So there's some conversion going on, and I will have to, again, tune in the new setup. It's also got like a different intake and stuff. But I wanted to have a baseline of like, I know the car did good with the tune that I had in it, and I wanted information to convert that tune over. So, using HP tuners and, again, laptop, whatever, in my engine sim, I'm able to simulate the engine. So, I'll just show you right now. And like you guys and gals have seen this before, where I can literally like turn knobs, switches, whatever, and simulate a running engine on my bench, right? Just give the computer crank and cam simulation, map sensor throttle position, barometric pressure, wideband input, like all this stuff. It's got switch input on it. I have another video on my channel going into engine sims, or the engine sim I have available. But this is awesome for what I'm about to show you. So, I've literally, and like I've already pre-done some of this because again I'm trying to keep the video short, but I am able to, like, you know how GM computers do everything in cylinder air mass. It's not like KPA like all the aftermarket tunes do it, or all the aftermarket computers do it, like Holley, Mega Squirt, Speeduino, Max ECU, stuff like that. All of those use like RPM over KPA for ignition timing tables. Same with fueling. This uses KPA for fueling for the speed density VE, but ignition's done by cylinder air mass. Something I found out with this guy is, with the engine sim, is the fact of air intake temperature sensor can drop you around on the cylinder air mass table for your ignition table, which is crazy. It has a pretty big input for where you land on your ignition timing table. So something to keep in mind when you're tuning a PO1 or P59. But regardless, I set the air intake temperature to 82, set the engine coolant temperature to 185, so it's warmed up motor, and I've been making pulls with this thing, right? So set the map, like you can see right here, the car's running a 5-bar map because we're going to party, right? So pretty much what I've been doing is I've been setting the map sensor to a value that the Dominator engine computer has in the map that I've already kind of started setting up for it, right? But I needed the exact ignition timing data off of this because I could look at the timing table and kind of get close, but I wanted to see. We all know, everyone that's tuned one of these knows there's a bunch of different tables and they all kind of interact, and I wanted just a baseline of, like, in this, you know, engine coolant temperature, air intake temperature, map sensor, what's the run look like, right? So again, like I'm showing you, like I'm going up and down with the map sensor. You can see the ignition vents changing. But what I pretty much did was, and I'm going to show you the log, I set the map sensor, we'll set it to like 200 right here. Then I started down at like 400, and then I did a sweep. And I made an individual log per sweep, which just could be a little bit of work. You could technically do all this in one log. There's a couple different ways around it. Like you could set the maps, like hit the record button, right? You could set the map sensor to 1 kPa, do a log, switch it to the next kPa, do a run, like a log, I mean a run, and keep it all in one log. For some of the stuff I'm about to show you. So I've been exporting all of these because I've started using Megalog Viewer. So I'm going to bring up, I think I've got, which one? The 200 kPa pull right here. So to explain this, as I said, I started out at we're going to say 413 RPM. And then I just made a pull. But this allows me to grab the I know this was a 200 kPa, so roughly a little over 14 pounds of boost. And what this allowed me to do is just set kPa to a fixed value and then go through what I had in there. Now, mind you, I'm going to fix some of like that spike and whatever. I'll take that out of the new map going into the Dominator, but it allowed me to get the ignition profile of what I had in that car and just run it on this. So for those of us, and like, again, you could do it in one table. It just depends on what all you want to do, because you got the histogram. So like, you could literally make, if you pay for Megalog Viewer HD, which I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, it's just really awesome software. You could set the table up, because the tables are universal in size. You can set the table up, do all your runs, and convert it to a new table. Like what you had on pretty much anything you can log with a CSV file. You could set up Megalog Viewer for that table, do a bunch of simulated runs with the engine sim, grab the table, copy and paste into like a Dominator file if you want to. There's a couple different, like, there's obviously multiple different ways you can do it. But it was just something that I figured I'd video quick, because it was just a neat use case of that engine sim. I'm going to get it ready. And I also, because I have the quick connects for like this computer, and I also have the quick connect set up for a Terminator X, which has the same like J1A and J1B connector as a Dominator. I'll literally be able to unplug it off of my Terminator X, plug it into the Dominator that's on the car, and simulate it with this to make sure my tune file that I'm putting in the Dominator rationality checks, like the ignition works, fuel injectors work, like all the things work. I can simulate a push button input and stuff like, all the stuff. Make sure it all works before we even hook it up to the vehicle harness to make sure, again, like the tune file's in correctly. I have all the settings correct. Like, we're not going to fry any ignition coils or fuel injectors or anything. It's just, it's a great, useful tool for, again, doing bench work, bench testing. If you're developing OBD2 software for scanning, like I am, just for the fun, you can use it for that, stuff like that. So anyway, I just figured I would make this video and show you another use case for the engine sim. All right, have a good day. Bye.